Good evening. It's Thursday evening. I want to try to discuss something that I'm not sure I'll succeed in getting across. I may shit can this video when I go to edit it and I watch it back, and if it occurs to me it doesn't make any damn sense that I can't really, I can't really put into words what I'm trying to convey, then I'll ditch it. But obviously, if you're seeing this, that's not the case. If you're seeing it, it's not the case. So, a few different events in the past 2 weeks have gotten me to thinking a lot and connecting the dots. And today, a really good, very close person to me passed this morning. And we knew it was coming. We knew it was in the immediate future or near future. Luckily, this individual didn't suffer any more than they did. And I guess passed as quietly and relatively as peacefully as any of us could hope for, I guess. But I'll tell you, this man lived an incredible life. An incredible life. This man leaves such an enormous footprint. Such a huge footprint that though he's no longer here, his influence and his wisdom and his knowledge, his teaching, his love, his essence, his energy, which he abundantly shared his entire life, that goes on for generations to come. It goes on because I can't even begin to estimate or guess how many people, just personally myself, I know plenty of people, including myself, who he had a major part in shaping their lives. He had a huge part in the course of my life. As a mentor, as a teacher. And it got me to thinking, compared to the norm, and then looking at, it got me to thinking, how will we each be remembered? And what influences that? And what does that matter? How will you be remembered? How will I be remembered? Not just something like YouTube videos or something like that. I mean, as far as your one-on-one interpersonal relationships with other human beings, the people that you came into contact with throughout your life, the people that were in your life. How far down the line will your memory and your influence echo, still be felt and last? Because when I think of just an average person, average man, and especially it looks to me today, even more, all the more, that compared to the average man, his influence is just incredible, just enormous. Not only with his family, not only with his children, not only with his wife of 61 or 2 years, but with all the other people that are family, but not blood related. He's, and then what got me started along these lines, this is a huge thing, of course, but fortunately, I was very, very blessed that I got to see him last weekend and talk with him. And he was 100% there. He was on home hospice for a little bit now. So it was inevitable. He had an inoperable cancer. And I tell you, cancer's been killing a lot of people I know past couple of years. A lot of people I know. But I was able to spend time with him and talk with him, and he was completely cognizant of who he was and his place in the world and in life and, history and, and he said to me, one thing he said to me, he said to me, we'll see each other again. He was very tired, his body was exhausted, but he was there, and I had been told that that may or may not be the case, because he has good days and he has bad days, because he's really getting close to the end, and some days he's just not really there. Well, he was 100% there. That was who I knew. He was the man I knew. And I'm very, very fortunate for that. Because less than a week later, in less than a week's time, he's deceased. I saw him Sunday. He passed this morning. And today is Thursday. So I'm really thankful for that. Last week or so, maybe a little over a week ago, I was on Facebook, which, how I actually truly feel about Facebook, right? What Facebook is just a tool of the government, blah, blah, blah. Literally, it's been demonstrated. There were all kind of judicial hearings on it and every other thing a couple of years ago. If you don't remember that, I don't know where you were. That it was an information gathering facility for the government, for the CIA. Metadata. And then, of course, now the name of the company is Meta. Is that ironic? Right in your face. And people put their whole lives on there, Some people. That's neither here nor there in this instance. Hell, they could censor me just for saying that. That's how bad things are getting. But I went there, it's summertime. I'm riding my bike a lot. I rode it a whole lot today, which is awesome. I love it. It's just so relaxing and peaceful and just settling, And I sometimes I look for, what's going on, any motorcycle events or happenings going on this weekend, or any car shows or whatever, right? So on Facebook, there's a couple of motorcycle enthusiast related type of pages that I'll go to. But I'm going to tell you right now, like everything else, it doesn't seem the same to me anymore. The people that are drawn to it, that congregate there. Not everybody, but by and large, not the same, as far as I'm concerned. It's back in my day. But I guess every old person feels that way, right? But I had seen where somebody had posted something about, and it's always, and a point that's talked to death, which I don't even get the controversy. It's not even worth discussion in any negative light, but somebody said something about the wave, right? Because I don't know if you know it or not, or if you ride, or if you've observed it or noticed, but motorcyclists, particularly Harley-Davidson riders, but I wave to everybody. I don't care what they ride. And they wave back. We wave to each other, we just acknowledge each other, just stick a hand out to say, just like, hey, I see you, man. We're both out here on the same road together. We're on two wheels. That's awesome. I get where you're coming from. You know what I mean? It's just a greeting. It's just polite and respectful, just acknowledgement that, hey, we coexist here and we have this in common. It's very brief, just in passing. It's very small, costs you nothing. Costs you nothing. So I wave to everybody. Similarly, I call everybody brother. And there are people that like really disagree with that. And there are different degrees, right? You have some people, if you're very fortunate, you may have a few people that you could count on one hand, but they're so steadfast in your life for decades that they truly are like your brother. That's a different level. Hulk Hogan, I always liked that, how he called everybody brother. It's just a way to open up a dialogue or to enter into an interaction with somebody you may not really know, and you're already becoming available. You're making yourself available. You're opening yourself up, and you're kind of greeting someone, and you're allowing them, like, hey, I'm here. I'm aware. I'm on board. I'm communicating with you. I'm acknowledging you. And it's the same thing with the little wave thing. But I saw somebody posted asking about the wave or whatever. And you had a whole bunch of really nice things people said. And of course it's always got to be, you got somebody has to come on there and chime in and say, I don't wave to anybody. I don't want anybody effing waving at me. If I don't know you, if I don't know you, I don't bro you or whatever, right? If you don't know me, don't bro me or whatever it is, right? Number one, pretty fucking sure you wouldn't say that to me. If that's who you are, really? I don't think it is. I think it's fake as shit. I think it's counterfeit all day long. But if that is who you are, I feel sorry for you, man. I feel sorry for you. So, but if I referred to you as brother, or if I waved to you, you don't have to wave back. You may not wave back, that's fine. But I can guarantee you one damn thing. In person, face to face, I don't see you giving me a bunch of grief about it. Because you're a phony. You're fraudulent. You're fake. Like I said, I know there are different levels to how close you are with different people and all that jazz, but just give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I afford everybody that acknowledgement and respect. It opens dialogues. It sets a tone. Does that mean everybody out there is going to act like a brother to me? Everybody out there is going to be welcoming? And no, absolutely not. There are bad people out there. But here's the deal, man. We're here together. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. And putting on a bunch of fake-ass, hard, tough guy shit, that's not tough and that's not hard. That's not. Because truly the hardest dudes I know, and I know some dudes that are really, really hard, can guarantee you that most of these whores on YouTube, if they knew any of the crowd of people that I really, really know, some of these people, they would be up their ass trying to get them on their videos because they would want a video and document that, hey, look who I'm friends with and look what they can do. And I'm the opposite of that. I don't want that. I don't, it's not for me. It's not for me. I don't have to parade out people and, you know what I mean? Because that's fake shit. That's fraudulent, man. It's counterfeit. It's fake. But that whole, the hardest men that I actually know, the most skilled men, they're not walking around, mean mugging people. They're not walking around like they got an attitude or a mood or some shit. That's not productive for you or for anybody else. And really, the men that exist that you're trying to pretend to be like, they know the difference, man. So it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. You're not, I don't even understand it. I'm so far from it, I don't even get it. I don't even get it. But I'm going to tell you this piece of wisdom, and you can carve it in stone, is that until you allow yourself to be yourself, you're never going to really know yourself. You're never going to know who the hell that is until you allow yourself to be yourself. Allow yourself to be yourself. You know, I've mentioned it previously, but I was at the gym one time, and there was a guy in there, and he had a shirt on that said, I'm not your fucking bro. On a shirt, man. Kids in the gym you might run into, there are women in there. That's just outright, outwardly offensive for no real reason, right? Why? Offensive just to purposely be offensive. What do you think that says about you? Does that say you're hard, you're tough, or some shit like that? No. To me, it says you're fucking weak. You know, but that's neither here nor there. But if you gotta know, to me, that's what that indicates. That indicates to me that you gotta broadcast something that you're trying to get across to everybody, and it's so important to you that people that don't even give a shit, about what you got going or don't got going or any other thing. You gotta make sure that everybody's aware that this is what you want to project. That's weak, man. That's weak. And how it all ties in is you got so much of this going on today. Men are so fucking fake today. Not everybody, but by and large, man. Just go out and look around you. You know, it's just like this same old shit. Almost got in a fight last night. You know, I asked somebody one time, what do you mean you almost got in a fight? Well, this happened, that happened, this happened, and it was this close, man. I was getting ready to... I was like, but it didn't happen? Well, no, but we were almost got this. Well, then it's like a non-issue, right? So what are you telling me? That you did not get into a fight last night? Okay, good. It's a non-issue. How do you almost get into a fight? How do you almost get into a fight? You know, but you got these dudes like that, man. They're always almost getting into fights, right? Because one's scared and the other one's glad of it. You know, they're doing this. That's where we are today. They think that all of that together wrapped up embodies what a man's supposed to be. They want so bad to be seen as that. You know, if you were in the actual midst of doing and being whatever, actually being it, whatever that is, it would never even occur to you, you know, to pretend to be it, to front that out there like that. Like I said, you know, when I started this Gorilla with a Cause thing and we had the logo drawn up, the gorilla, right? See him back there? Does he look like a mean gorilla? Nah. And I made sure when we had the logo made, we had it designed that said, you know, described it, you know, I want him to have a workout glove on his hand, I want him to be huge and all this shit, but I don't want him looking all, I don't want a scowl on his face, I don't want him looking all hard and mean and shit. I want him to look like, hey, I'm a gorilla and that's that. You know? Because he is a fucking gorilla. He doesn't have to go around throwing his weight around and pushing people around to convince them he's a gorilla. He doesn't have to act like what he thinks a gorilla should act like, because he actually is a gorilla, man, and nobody fucks with a gorilla. You understand what I'm saying? Or you don't? But all this ties into, and I ask myself the bigger question, how would I be remembered? When my time comes, how will I be remembered? And by whom? In what way? Think about it. I mean, maybe you've raised some children, maybe you've done a great job, maybe you've been a good family man and all that stuff. So they're gonna miss the hell out of you. It's gonna be a huge loss to them. But out there in the world, the people that you didn't really have to be nice to, that you just encountered. You know, people that were around you at work, or people that were around you day to day, your neighbors, or people that you came into contact with. You saw at the gym, if that's the case that you go to the gym, or wherever you go and hang out, or whatever hobby you engage in, or how will those people in the periphery, how would they describe you? Would they not remember you at all, or barely notice you, or would they think you were an asshole? Or how would they remember you? How would they describe you? And then ball all that together, and how long does that memory last? So you lived in a whole lifetime here, however long that is or isn't. And then you depart from here. You're not coming back. You leave. Who here remembers you, and how long will that memory last? How long does your echo last? How long does it go on? How long does it reverberate? How long does your energy, your influence that you've left behind, how long does that reverberate here in this world without you? How big is your footprint? In a good way. It's an interesting thing to consider. It's an interesting thing to consider. So yeah, am I some kind of person to look up to and say, well, he's going to really be remembered well, he's really making a big impression. I'm not that person, man. I'm not that person. Why? Because I make some YouTube videos. How do I know, what that's worth to who? How the hell do I know? I mean, I feel very honored if anything that I do on anything through this World Wide Web, right? Because now you have this opportunity to speak to the world. The world. Okay? Think of it in that regard. How would you be remembered? What's your influence? What's the footprint? What's the reverberation you leave behind? What kind of energy? And now you have the opportunity in today's world to reach and touch the world, to speak to the world. Then you go and look at how people use that. How do many, many people use that? Look in your comments section of a lot of videos, a lot of places, or a lot of forums, and all these characters. How do these people use that? And 50 years from now, 100 years from now, if people pull any of that up and look at it or read it, if anybody's even still here to do that, or even cares, and they stumble across that stuff or anything you left behind like that didn't know you, what's their impression going to be? What's their impression going to be? So I have to always remind myself. I have to always remind myself, man. Always remind myself, and I lose track. I get caught up like everybody else. I get caught up in this game. I get caught up in this virtual life here, right? If you're a soul, a spirit that's eternal, if you believe in that, if you believe that in any regard, then this is just a virtual reality, because this isn't, you're trapped in these containers here. You're trapped in this vessel here. You're moving through this arena, this theater, in this vessel. You're contained in this vessel, but that's not really you. It's you that's inside driving. You're in that driver's seat. Now, how are you going to be? What character are you going to be? And how are you going to interrelate? Because everybody else out there is the same. They're a spirit encapsulated in a vehicle, moving through this realm, moving through this theater, this stage of this world. This virtual reality in that regard. But you're in control, just as each person is. And yeah, there's a lot of bad people, but that doesn't mean you want to be one of them. So it's something that, I get caught up. I need to be reminded a lot of times, because a lot of times I look at things and I see that the glass is half empty in a lot of regards. A lot of terrible shit going on. A lot of confusing stuff, a lot of turmoil, a lot of division, And it's so easy to get down on it and talk about that and all the horrible shit that's going on and building up, and you see it building. Of course, it's something to talk about. And I do talk about it. I talk about it a lot. or on Patreon, because a lot of the shit that's going on, I can't talk about that here. But that's not necessarily, it may be productive, maybe here in this virtual reality, in the game. But at the level of your soul, spiritually, is it productive? Is it counterproductive? You know, and then nobody's perfect. And I'm not trying to be perfect because I'm so far from perfect. The best that I can hope for is to bear in mind that I do have a moral compass, and I need to check in with that, and I need to look at that and read that and set my course in accordance with its guidance to chart a course in the direction that I want to go morally, you know? So, you know, while we're here, we're subject to going to the realm. We're here. But there's more. And even if there isn't more, especially if there isn't more, then when you leave here, if this is all you got, if you're sitting there thinking that, you're thinking, well, he's a fool. This is all there is. It's just darkness after this. Which I don't believe at all. But if you believe that, then all the more you than anybody, if you believe that, it should matter the impression that you make while you're here, because time is short. You don't have long. You don't have long. How long has the earth been here? How long has mankind walked the earth, civilization? How long the development? Not long. None of this is long. It's all real short stuff. You know. The sun, right? Class M star. They say, or project, at last I heard, it has a lifespan of 70 to 80 million years before it burns out. 70 to 80 million years. We can't even conceive of that amount of time, right? How long is our lifetime? 100 years, maybe? If you're like lucky, I guess. Depending on what shape you're in 100 years. Most of us aren't going to see 100. Most of us maybe don't want to be 100. So what do you got, 70 to 100 years, something like that? If nothing else happens and you live a complete, it should be a complete life anyway, because even that's not guaranteed that amount of time, but say 70 to 100 years. Compare that to 70 to 80 million years. It's a wink of an eye, flutter of an eyelash. That's how fast it's going to go by. And in light of all of that, in consideration of that, how will you be remembered, and what impression did you make, and what did you leave behind that's positive? Yeah, sure, your legacy is your children, and, you know, but beyond that, how have you touched the world? You move through the world every day. You have contact with other human beings, most likely every single solitary day, in some way or another. So, what's the nature of that contact? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? I don't know. Anyway, it's just shit to think about is all. I think it, you know, and like I say, listen, I'm no better than anybody else, all right? Just batting ideas around here, just spitballing ideas. Just trying to stay cognizant. You know, ultimately, you want to be woke, then really be awake and understand time is short. Half the shit that's going on, we don't have time for this. But I guess that's why it's easier. It's easier to be unkind than it is to be kind in most cases. It certainly sells faster and more effectively. Bad news travels faster than good. Bad news is talked about and repeated more than good. I don't know why that is. Our nature, I don't know. Here, is it here? You know, maybe because it's here. You know, it's like the guy that burned down the barn. He becomes more infamous than the person that carried the lambs out to safety becomes famous. They're not going to remember who carried those lambs out to safety, but they'll always remember, oh, that son of a gun that burnt that barn down. Remember when such and such burned down that barn? You know, that all. Who was that guy again that carried them lambs out? Did everything got killed? Well, no, somebody carried a few lambs out. Who was that? Right? Why is that? I don't know, but if we could change that, then maybe a lot of other things would be different. Just a thought, man. Just a thought, man. Don't kick me too hard. It's just an idea, man. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. All right, I'm out of here. I need to get in the habit of making more positive shit, you know, but people don't watch the positive shit usually. Not very many. Not very many. You can go back and look at my previous videos, all of them, and you can see that, you know, the more positive ones, the ones that are, I think, of a better influence, they get the most anemic numbers of views, and the views isn't what it's all about, you know. So I need to start making some more positive videos more frequently. Anyway, I apologize because I've been lax, I get caught up, I get off track myself. That's all. So let's try to stay on track a little more. Yeah, all the other shit's going on, you know. And we're still going to be men, and we're still going to lift weights, and we're still going to build muscle, and we're still going to disagree, and we're still going to get loud, and we're still going to drink some whiskey maybe smoke a cigar, ride motorcycles, loud motorcycles, burn fossil fuels, but that's not the whole entire sum of who and what we are. Doesn't hurt to be kind, man, unless you're scared. If you're really, really tough, then there's nothing to fear in making yourself vulnerable, to opening yourself up so that you're available to people. Because what are you afraid of if you're so hard? All right, I'm out of here. Hope somebody gets this. You guys take care and have a great evening.